Have you ever wondered why some people are great with numbers, while others excel in music, sports, or solving real-life problems? Is intelligence just about being smart in school, or is it something much bigger?
Welcome to our journey through the theories of intelligence, where we discover how unique, capable, and intelligent each one of us truly is.
We have the theories about intelligence. So first we have the faculty theory, one factor or unifactor, Spearman's, Thorndike's, Thurstone's, Guilford's, Vernon's, Catalhorn fluid and crystallized intelligence theory, Gardner's multiple intelligences, Sternberg's, David Perkins, and Jean Piaget's theory. So what is the meaning of intelligence? Intelligence is one of the most studied topics in psychology. Many experts have tried to explain what it really is. It is the ability to learn and understand, to solve problems, and adapt to situations. Over the years, different theories were developed, each giving its own picture of how human intelligence works. These theories help us understand that intelligence is not just one thing. It can be many things: thinking logically, solving problems, understanding people, using your body well, being creative, and more. So let's explore each major theory in simple terms. We have the faculty theory. So it is one of the oldest theories. It says that the mind is made up of different faculties or abilities, like reasoning, memory, discrimination, and imagination. So these faculties are independent by each other and can be developed by training. But later on, ang mga psychologists nag-disagree sila because the brain does not really work in separate. So we have the one factor or the unifactor theory. So this theory says that there is only one kind of intelligence, which is common sense. And it says that all abilities come from a single source. However, the problem of it is that it ignores that people have different strengths. We have Spearman's two-factor theory. So Spearman says intelligence has two parts. The G factor is the general ability everyone has. It helps in overall learning, while the S factor is the specific abilities learned from experience, for example, music skill, math skills, or reading skills. We have Thorndike's multi-factor theory. So Thorndike disagreed that there is only one general ability. He said intelligence is made of many different abilities such as level, range, area, speed. So level is the hardest task a person can handle. Range is how many tasks at that level they can do. Area, how many situations they can respond to, and speed, how fast they respond. So this theory says intelligence is not one big thing. It is made of many small skills. Lewis Thurstone's primary mental abilities or group factor theory. So Thurstone's idea is that intelligence is made up of 7 major abilities: number, verbal, space, memory, word fluency, reasoning, perceptual speed. So number factor is the ability to do numerical calculations rapidly and accurately. Verbal factor is the ability to do tasks involving verbal comprehension. Space is the ability to manipulate imaginary objects in space. Memory is the ability to memorize material quickly and recall. Word fluency is the ability to think of isolated words at a rapid rate. Reasoning is the ability to discover or find a rule
or principle governing a series of group of materials. And perception is the ability to see differences and similarities among objects. So he believed that people can excel in one ability but be average in others. It supports the idea that intelligence is multidimensional. We have Joy Paul Guilford's model of that structure of intellect. So Guilford proposed a three-dimensional structure of intellect. According to Guilford, every intellectual task can be classified according to a combination of any of the following: the content, the operation, and the products. So content has 5 categories, namely visual, auditory, symbolic, semantic, and behavioral. The mental operations has 6 categories, namely cognition, memory, retention, and memory recording, divergent production, convergent production, and evaluation. Next is the products. So there are 6 categories, which are the units, classes, relations, systems, transformations, and implications. This model shows how complex intelligence can be. Next, we have Philip E. Vernon's hierarchical theory. So this theory tries to bridge the gap between Spearman's and Thurstone's theory, which view intelligence as occurring in the extremes. So for example, si Spearman kay gi-assert niya that there are just 2 abilities, the general abilities and the specific abilities, while Thurstone claims that mental operations can be grouped and are bound by common primary factor. However, on the other hand, Vernon contends that intelligence has levels like a pyramid. So we have at the top the G factor, which is the general ability, the middle, the major group factors, for example, the verbal educational ability, the practical mechanical ability, the lower, the minor group factors, and at the bottom, the specific abilities. It is the skills you can learn individually. So this theory says that intelligence is a hierarchy from general to specific. Next, we have the cattle horn fluid and crystallized intelligence theory. So we have fluid intelligence, crystallized intelligence, and visual spatial reasoning. So fluid intelligence is the natural ability you are born with, which comes from your genes. Then, crystallized intelligence is the ability you develop through your experience, learning, and environment. Lastly is the visual spatial reasoning. So it is the skill that helps a person understand shapes, space, and how objects are arranged or move. It is also the ability to use images and visual relationships to think. Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences theory. So he asserts that we are all born with the potential to develop a multiplicity of intelligences. He said that people have 8 intelligences. First, we have bodily or the kinesthetic. So it is the ability to use one's physical body well. For example, kay mga dancers, athletes, acrobats. Next, we have interpersonal. It is the ability to sense other people's feelings and be in tune with them. For example, mga salespersons, PR persons, and politicians. Next, we have the intrapersonal. It is the ability to know and have a deep understanding of one's own mind and body. So for example, psychologists, therapists, counselors, wise elders, monks. Next, verbal or linguistic. It is the ability to communicate well, orally and in writing, perhaps in many languages. For example, mga poets, writers, orators. Next, we have logical or mathematical. It is the ability
to learn science and mathematics, the ability to handle complex or logical arguments. For example, mga mathematicians or engineers. Next, we have the musical or rhythmic. It is the ability to learn, perform, and compose music. For example, mga musicians and composers. Next, we have the naturalistic. It is the ability to know and understand different species, recognize patterns in nature, for example, mga biologists or naturalists. Last, we have the visual or spatial ability. It is the ability to know where one is relative to fixed locations, ability to accomplish tasks requiring three-dimensional visualization, ability to imagine and manipulate visual objects in one's mind. For example, mga surgeons, sailors, and fishermen charting the sea without navigational aids. So, Gardner argues that these intelligences are distinct from each other and that each person has some level of each of these intelligences. Sternberg's triarchic theory of intelligence. While other researchers have identified different components of intelligence, Sternberg focused only on three domains, namely practical intelligence, experiential intelligence, and componential intelligence. So practical intelligence is the ability to do well in formal and informal educational settings, adapting to and shaping one's environment. For example, street smarts. Next is the experiential intelligence. It is the ability to deal with novel situations, ability to think in novel ways, ability to effectively automate ways of dealing with new situations so these are easily handled in the future. Lastly, we have componential intelligence, which are analyzing, planning, academic, and problem solving. So we can see that the focus of Gardner lies in identifying specific intelligence aligned with academic disciplines or occupations, while Sternberg focuses on helping people develop components of intelligence that will help them perform best in whatever they do. Next, we have David Perkins' three components of intelligence. So Perkins strongly supports Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. He came up with the assertion that intelligence has three major components or dimensions, which are the neural intelligence, experiential intelligence, and reflective intelligence. So first, we have the neural intelligence. So it is how well the brain works. So it depends on health, genes, and nutrition. For example, our focus and problem solving improve with good brain health. Second is the experiential intelligence. It is the knowledge gained from experience. So it grows through practice and a stimulating environment. So for example, a student gets better at math through repeated practice. And the third one is the reflective intelligence. So it is thinking about your own thinking. For example, planning, checking, and improving your learning. So in the book, Smart Schools that Perkins wrote in 1992, he pointed out research evidence that education can be considerably improved by more appropriate teaching, focusing on higher order cognitive skills, and the use of project-based learning. Again, this suggests the importance of practice, training, and experience in improving intelligence. We have the last theory, which is Jean Piaget's theory of intellectual development. So Piaget's theory says that children build mental structures called schemas to understand and respond to their environment. As children grow and gain experience, their thinking becomes more advanced. So here are the stages of development.
So first is the sensory motor, 0 to 2 years old. So in this stage, the child learns through senses and movement and begins to understand that objects exist even if not seen. Next, we have the pre-operational, 2 to 7 years old. So they use language and symbols. The child thinks mostly about the present. Then, struggles with abstract ideas and others' viewpoints. Next, we have concrete operations, 7 to 11 years old. So the child can think logically about concrete situations and solve problems na. And the child can understand the past, present, and the future. Last, we have the formal operations, 11 to 15 years old. So the child can now think abstractly and hypothetically. They can also solve problems logically like an adult. So Piaget's theory is part of cognitive theories of intelligence, which focus on how thinking develops. In conclusion, we need to be reminded that there is no single way to define intelligence, but all theories agree that students learn differently and teachers must adjust to these differences. Those are the 12 theories of intelligence. Thank you for watching!